Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network, where tonight we will bring you action from Race 2 and Round 1 of the playoffs, where qualifying is just wrapped up. These cars are gridding up. You see here, we are at New Hampshire. This is the Magic Mile 125 tonight. Joining me in the booth, as always, is James Watson. William White is also here, also as race control, hoping he has an easy night tonight, but we will see how that plays out. And a different producer tonight. No longer do we have, well, just for this week, do we not have Dave, but we've got Nick Masse instead. So, guys, talk to me about what you guys expect to see tonight here in race two. A lot of guys are going to be wanting to win. A lot of guys are going to be wanting points. Do not want to have to go into Talladega next week to points race.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what to expect. That's the thing about New Hampshire is it's always kind of a mixed bag, Sometimes you get processional type races where there's not a whole lot of action or passing going on. Sometimes you get abject dumpster fires with the amount of cautions where it looks like it's smaller but similar shaped counterpart Martinsville. Like you never know what kind of race you're gonna get here every time you roll into lobster territory.
Yeah, I don't particularly expect myself to have the easiest night. We're seeing the grid come up now. I don't expect myself to have the easiest night at race control. There's a lot of elements that are telling me with how competitive the grid is, the playoff flavor to it, the fact we're at New Hampshire, multi-groove, flat track, short track, close quarters. I'm not expecting this to be caution-free by any stretch of the imagination.
And for the first time this week, we'll throw it to you, Nick. What do you think we're going to see out here tonight?
I don't know. Saw a lot of guys running different lot of lines in practice. Saw a couple guys way down on the apron, almost clipping the grass. So it looks like options are open tonight. So I think it's might be a wild card here. Who knows what kind of race we're gonna see, as you guys touched upon.
Yeah, and as these guys get ready to roll, you see the grid: Cutlet, Blake Reynolds, J.P. Phillips, and Ryan Borg is there. Two non-playoff guys in row two, breaking up the playoff guys at the front with Fody, Wildsworth, Gavin Hibbs, Chad Frankenfield, Gavin Higgins, David Tooker, Matthew Weeks, and then we get to our third non-playoff guy, Gerald Campbell. So it's looking like all these playoff guys qualified at the front. But that'll make Talladega even more fun for us next week, fellas, because if these guys are going to qualify at the front, that means that type point battle that came into tonight will continue as the green flag comes out. Great start up there for John. He's going to get almost clear. Did not quite dive down in there quite as hard as the car on his outside. He's going to try to get clear off of two. Not going to happen. Oh, it is going to happen. Called it too soon. John is clear. Front two single filed out. Heading for turn three.
Like trying to see if he can set up a run on the outside. Can't do it. Pulls right down in front of JP Phillips right there. That got a little hairy.
And I do believe, James, this is the first race that they've ran at New Hampshire in this series since we had the new build come out that really addressed, as far as like New Hampshire being a new scan. It seemed like in other series and in the officials that I've seen, it's really widened this racetrack out. It's no longer just the second and third lane, or sometimes we'd see guys use the fourth lane. As Chad Frankenfield gets loose, gets into the 26 off of 4. Nearly a wreck, but did not happen.
Yeah, heck of a save by Adams. That got scary.
Oh, and Chad's going around off of 2. Oh, Gerald's involved.
Oh, no!
They get hit hard.
Clobber by Jeff Wright.
The 3 destroyed him. Oh, and Chad's destroyed as a playoff guy.
Look at the rear of that Mustang. He's got so much rear steer. He's driving a monster truck out there. Call it maximum destruction in a different way. Look at that. My goodness.
Holy smokes.
Sick drift, yo. Wow.
And one of our playoff guys is going to be banking on Talladega next week and being in a must-win in Talladega next week.
Yeah.
So here you see it. You go down into 1. Chad runs that normal line. He's going to go down in there, slide up. The 26 tries to pull left. Maybe a little aggressive out of the 26, but I almost wonder if the 26 wasn't willing to be more aggressive because he felt like Chad came down into him, maybe doesn't realize that Chad got loose off of 4.
Yeah, and trying to see, is there any... See, here comes the nose of the 26. Oh, there's some net code.
Yeah, but that's one of those net codes where I think they were going to make contact either way.
Yeah, but the thing about netcode contacts like this is that, yes, they were going to hit regardless, but the netcode happening is what just absolutely ships the 15 around. If netcode wasn't there and it was just normal contact, it would have got Chad a little loose, but it just wouldn't have absolutely sent the car around.
It's just one of those things where I think what happened 20 seconds before that with Chad getting loose off of 4 and getting into the 26. I think the 26 felt like Chad came down into him a little bit, which let him be way more aggressive in turn 1 and 2 and say, you know what, if this guy gets wrecked, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't think the 26 puts his nose in there like that off of 2 if he doesn't feel like he was wronged off of 4.
I agree.
But that's part of it. That's 2 playoff guys fighting for a spot, and like we mentioned, now Chad's going to be going to Talladega next week having to win.
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever a track to go to in a must-win situation, Talladega is definitely one of the better ones just because of the fact that, you know, everyone has a chance, but it's also the worst track because everyone has a chance.
Yeah, and for those of you watching that do not know, I believe 3rd through about 10th or 12th in our points were separated by 10 points coming into tonight. So that point battle is very tight moving through this first round of the playoff. John once again picks the bottom. Green is out. Great start there for John. He gets clear going into 1 this time. No battle for 2nd, but there is a battle for 3rd as Fody tries to stay on the outside of JP. He's going to do so. Head for turn 3. JP gets clear. Fody's clear. Here comes Gavin trying to get clear up off the bottom. Can't do it. Instead, they're going to be 3 wide down the front stretch.
2 rows of 3 wide, in fact.
Yeah, who is in that red and white car that I don't even see a car number on?
That is Gavin Higgins. They, I guess they decided to spruce up the unsponsored 20 and give it a little pizzazz.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that... I don't know, maybe since Chad hasn't said anything, it must be within the rules. I would have thought you'd have had...
It's got the banner. That's really all that matters, technically.
I would have thought you'd had to have a number, but hey. I guess whatever works. He gets clear.
Hey, the sponsors only pay for the banners, not the numbers.
And John's doing something down here in 3 and 4 that I have seen work many times. Usually the tires have to be older, but I just saw him go down to the apron and right against that grass down there in 3 and 4. Now that I've said something, he probably won't do it again. But that is a groove that seems to really work on the older tires. I just don't know if these tires have enough laps on it. And you see, they are fighting for that lane down there.
Yeah, in fact, Blake got real close to smoking the safer barrier there.
And there he goes again. Driving down there. He's not slowing down enough to keep the car down there. He's letting it wash out. I mean, he's washing out into lane 3 on the racetrack. It's basically 4 lanes if you count that apron lane. But that is a lane that, as I've made more laps around here under this new scan, that is a lane I really like to run on older tires and wrap that bottom.
Yeah, it's like a extreme diamond line. It's quite interesting. And It's wild because I don't think that this is a line you really run IRL. At least I don't remember.
And here you see Matthew Weeks making the 40. Like we're talking about guys running this apron line. The 42's running up in the lighter asphalt. He's running up there in the 4th or 5th lane. So all these lanes out here are usable. They've got about, if you count the apron, you got about 5 useful lanes out here where you can make time with. And I do feel like as the race wears on and these tires start giving up some grip and wearing, that these grooves are only going to get used more and more up the track, down the track, just everywhere, trying to make that car turn through the middle. All these guys are going to be trying to churn the middle here at some point tonight.
Yeah, because rarely do you ever have a car here that rotates the center great throughout the course of the race. You know, car always feels like, at least to me, it always tightens up no matter what you do at New Hampshire. So you just got to figure out whatever way you have to drive around it. Otherwise, it's going to be a very unpleasant however many laps you have left in your tire stint at that point.
And as you see these guys battling, some guys really struggling. Gerald Campbell's really struggling backing up through this field right now. I think he got a little piece of that wreck, and it's maybe tightened him up a fair amount. But he's got a line of guys trying to pass him, and they're just trying to be patient with him and not use him up. Here comes Jay looking to the inside. Seth looks on, playoff driver. Great run for Seth last week at the road course. I actually had a chance to speak to Seth after that was over, and he was thrilled. You'd have thought he won the race talking to him after the race was over, being able to finish 6th at a road course.
Yeah, did a great job surviving a lot of the goofy stuff that was going on at some parts of that race.
And now here he sits, running 14th, which you would think, hey, that's good enough to not lose a lot of points. But playoff guys are on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So, I mean, Tate Lytle's out of the race in 37th. Must have been a starting park for him. I'm not sure.
He's having a lot of connection issues. He's dropped from the session about 3 times.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to be ruled by Chad, because he did not make last week, and tonight I don't know that he made a lap, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to even advance with the win next week at Talladega, being effectively not making either race here. But on the off chance he does, he'll be in a must-win next week, as will Chad, and we'll see who else joins them in that must-win scenario next week. But right now, if this stays like it is, most everybody in this playoff field will be able to place as high as 3rd in the playoffs next week or be out of it. But as you know, James, there's a lot of racing left. New Hampshire, a lot of times, will have a big wreck at some point, whether on a restart or some kind of scenario that'll play out to put a bunch of guys in a wreck together. And I mean, hopefully we don't see that tonight. Hopefully they run green the rest of this race, but we also have to acknowledge the things that are typically pretty common around here, and that is one of them.
Yeah, you tend to see a lot of massive pileups on either getting loose off of turn 2 or something happening on the front stretch that causes a big one because, you know, there's just nowhere to go. You got the pit lane wall right there next to you coming down the front stretch, so there just isn't a whole lot of space to dodge anything. Not like coming down the back straightaway where you have all that usable space.
Yeah, you took what I was going to talk about right away from me right there. I was going to mention how this front stretch is real narrow and a wall on either side, so if somebody's sitting sideways in the track, they're basically blocking 3/4 of the front stretch. And when a wreck happens up there around 4th or 5th and 3/4 of the track is blocked, typically the whole rest of the field trying to funnel into a lane and a half leads to that lane and a half getting clogged up and a bunch of guys with damage. Ooh, and there you see Jeff getting a little bit loose off of turn 2.
Is it me or does the 10 of Jared Rexing have 2 numbers? Like, it looks like the 10 is superimposed on another number.
I think the 10 is on top of a 10.
It's a 10 out of 10.
I think that's what it is, but I think that's a 10 on top of a 10. That's weird.
It is. Jared, of course, in a Nesquik car, like he always seems to run in any league I've seen him. I know he runs the this paint in the 03 Cup Series on Tuesdays.
Yeah, and you see right here, Josh Adams trying to make the pass on Hunter Smith. He is using this apron line, and he's going to get side by side with Jeff Green. Not quite with the drive off.
And in fact, that's going to make him almost lose the battle with Smith. Because he couldn't clear Jeff, couldn't clear Hunter. Big send from Josh. Oh, gonna get real close to Jeff Green.
And I'm going to tell you, I think old Jake is trying really hard to make this pass.
He sure is.
Typically when somebody's trying that hard and it's getting that close and that physical, it goes real bad for some.
That it does, especially here.
And there you see the old
Oh!
Contact save. Wow.
That was close.
How that was saved, I have no idea.
Yeah, you and me both. That was a wreck that didn't happen.
That was incredible. That was quite the save. I'm curious about that. If I felt like Jeff maybe came down a little bit, but Jake had been racing really hard and coming up pretty far off the corner. That was one of those things where not real sure. As you see Jay get sideways, these guys I think are starting to get really tight in the middle of the corner that we talked about, James, but we didn't talk about what's going to also happen when that happens, and that you're going to have all that wheel in that car in the middle of the corner. You're going to be so tight. You're going to be just extremely tight. You're going to be putting power to those rear tires, and all of a sudden it's going to catch and you're going to get sideways.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the battle between Adams and Smith continues on here.
And Jake, once again, working that bottom, trying really, really hard. And Hunter Smith trying really, really hard to not let him through. Nearly contact.
What?
Jake sideways. He makes the save. Well, Jake said, I can't be outdone by Jeff, so let me make a save.
And now
Here's
look
Chad
who's right behind him.
Oh, Chad's 21 laps down. I was going to say, Chad got that damage fixed. Chad is 21 laps down. They did get it fixed, but if Chad gets his laps back in this race, I don't know if we'll be here for the end of it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, that would mean we would have to have 21 plus cautions for Chad to get all his laps back.
Which might be an elite record.
And take a look here at Jeff, now running in there behind Jake. And we're going to learn real fast right now what Jeff thinks about the contact. Did Jeff think, hey, I came down a little bit? Does Jeff think, hey, I got ran into? It's I think those cards are about to be shown out on the table based on how Jeff approaches trying to pass Jake. Oh, out in front of him, the one's around.
Gene Racimus!
Pretty much a save. I was just getting ready to talk about how they were really struggling to pass Gerald, and Gerald was still up there holding that spot, but I think he and the one had some contact. Or the one just got sideways.
Yeah.
Gerald needed a caution. He threw out one of them banana peels. And got her done.
Yeah.
Ooh, that wall contact's pretty hard. Oh, Rexing gets good contact there.
Yeah. He almost lost one of his 10s.
Hunter does a great job.
Man, look at Jared. Just monster trucking over the...
Yep, hopefully he doesn't have any severe damage. I guess we'll find out. But we're going to get pit stops right here, and while they're going to be making their first pit stops of the night, on the off chance that we run caution-free, we're going to get in our quick commercial break, and on the other side of this break, we will bring you live action from playoff race number 2 here at New Hampshire.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to New Hampshire, where we have 1 to go for the green flag. Everybody came down pit road. Everybody, I believe, also took 4 tires and fuel. I have not got a chance. Let me take a look here. See what kind of tires came off of these race cars. Does not look like... So I don't really see any left side tire wear, so I think 2 tires are going to be an option later. We'll see how that plays out. Green is out. John once again on the front row, this time with Tyler Fody. Great jump there for John. Fody comes through to 2nd place in front of the 86. And side by side, 4th on back. Head down for turn 3. A little bit of bumper car action back in the field. Oh, we're wrecking off the 30s in the water barrels. So let's see what happens here. What? Oh, I see the 30. The 30's a couple cars in front of him. 30's going to get loose on his own.
Oh.
Joe.
Oh.
Joe in the car.
Wow.
Joe puts the 30 in the barrels, but The 30s damage is not that severe for as hard as I felt like he hit those barrels.
The sand is a lot softer than it seems, I suppose.
I would think with a hit like that, there would be quite a bit of damage on that left side. But I don't think there is.
Yeah, I don't see him.
Oh, it hit on the wheel. It's broke.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Okay, so we couldn't see the damage because there really wasn't any on the sheet metal that we could see, but it must have hit right on that wheel because that thing... Well, she ain't driving very good.
Which is really strange that that car does not have a meatball.
Well, I hope he doesn't take that into like his reasoning for not fixing most of this damage, because I don't know how good it is for everybody else if he's out here on the racetrack that far out of shape.
Oh, wow. Now, I really like having right hand down in my steering. But good gracious, even I have to draw the line somewhere. Holy heck.
Yeah, I agree. That's and you can tell she's leaned over. She's broke on that left side. But I got a question for you, James.
Yes.
This New Hampshire track, it's flat, about a mile. I mean, if you had to think of a track that was like this, I mean, where we ran, I think we ran there earlier this season, I believe. But this place is a lot like Worldwide Technology Raceway, wouldn't you say?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Okay, so James, I need you to play along
Okay.
so I can do the sponsor read. That's what I was looking for there, James.
Hey, I'm stupid. You have to spell things out for me, okay? I thought I made that perfectly clear.
Well, anyway, I want to talk about Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway, and it is in Madison, Illinois, just east of the St. Louis, Missouri, close to the Gateway Arch. It has a 1.25 mile oval, and it hosts the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Craftsman Truck Series, along with the NTT IndyCar Series, a 2-mile road course used by the Speed Tour Trans Am and the SCCA and Porsche Club of America, quarter-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Mission Food Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. So it's a great track. I think its racing is done for the year, but plan ahead. Christmas is coming. Get the family some tickets to Worldwide Technology Raceway for any or all of their events next season. As the green comes out, we see a little contact between the 11 and the 34 there into 1. John keeps the lead once again, driving away from the 86, leaving the battle between Fody and Wadsworth there for third down into turn number 3.
You did a great job on that. I was not sure if you were going to get the whole thing red in time for us to go back green, but you're as quick of a reader as you are on track.
I believe they were coming out of 2 when I finished that read. So I appreciate the boost there, but I don't think anybody watching, I don't think it matched up that well. What I do see, though, is Fody and Justin racing really hard. Former teammates. Not this year, as you can tell by one being in a Yoda and one being in a Chevy. Justin hoping he doesn't have the same problem that a lot of Yodas had yesterday at Martinsville, blowing motors and breaking pieces.
As a Briscoe fan, I don't want to talk
Reckon,
about
Seth
it, but
Ross,
oh boy!
34's involved.
And
I think Josh Adams is over there somewhere.
Oh, and there's more contact with Connor and Campbell.
What's Seth doing here? Seth is checking out the infield grass, waving at his fans. Now he's back. Oh, Gerald Campbell's around off of 4, Rexy.
Oh no!
Oh, the 28 Jake is involved. The 32's involved.
Justin hit him. There's the big one.
There's the big one. This is a big one here on the front stretch.
It's the parking lot. Gavin Hibbs requests us to see his onboard.
That was a big wreck at New Hampshire.
Yep.
And another car is broken. I think the 31's taken off there with a broken toe.
The
So here's the
28
first
is
incident.
also not looking good.
Oh, it's going to be the no numbered machine. Is going to get into the 34.
Oh yes, ship JP around. Borges can't check up and puts both him and his team boss down into the infield, taking the road course.
I got to tell you, Seth is so lucky that they opened up all that section and took the wall out, because he had plenty of room to go down there all the way to the middle of the grass and get turned around. And here they come off a 4. Gerald, the 10, the 28 gets a piece, the 2. I think the 12 got a piece. The 32 is going to get a piece. I think Gerald thought he was going to get clear.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards too. Like, I think Gerald just came up and kind of put. It's hard to say because Jared's a bit lower from the wall than I think Gerald would have anticipated, but Gerald is still going up pretty high. So to me, I can't, even with where Jared's running, I don't know if I could really put that on the 10.
I got to tell you, I called the 12 in that wreck. Leighton Norgard just did an incredible job missing the wreck. He missed it barely, just absolutely barely, that I saw in that replay, and I thought he was in it. So a great job there by the 12 machine to miss that wreck.
I think Gavin Hibbs too. Oh wow, yeah, we need to check out that 95.
I thought right here the 12 got hit.
Oh wow.
That hole was closing up real quick. And here is Gavin's view of that accident. Double wide, you really can't see anything until you can.
Whoa. Man,
Wow.
that's close.
So I mentioned early in the race there that William was hoping for a slow night in race control and not having to give out many tallies. I believe that's what caution 3 or 4 that we're working. So it's not setting up to be a low caution count tonight.
Yeah, we started real good, and then we didn't. But that ended up being the stage.
Well, John Cutlip won the stage. Blake, Wadsworth, Fody, Weeks, Wilkinson, Higgins, Tooker, Jay, and Smith as the green comes out. I'm going to tell you right now, somebody that we haven't talked about tonight a whole lot is sitting there running in 12. He is series sponsor. Also trying to make his way into boxing, I think, from what I understand. And that's Mark Rebilas right there.
That whole situation is just surreal, especially seeing it like posted on the college football Reddit page. Like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, that was interesting. Hopefully it all works out and everybody can go have fun. I know Mark is going to be at the Cup race this weekend to take a bunch of pictures of the 2025 champion William Byron. No, I don't want to, I'm like Paul Heyman. It's not a spoiler. But hopefully it's a good race. Good race for all 3 series in Phoenix this weekend, and no funny business happens.
As a Briscoe fan, I think you can figure what I'm hoping to see happen on Sunday. Please.
I can understand where you're coming from with that. But I think one thing we can both agree on is hopefully this is the last time one race decides the championship.
Yes. Please.
And I know that our producer up there is on board as well. Anything you want to add there, Nick, about one race deciding the champion?
No, just second what you guys just said right there.
Well, what I do know is they are 3 wide back here in front of Seth, bouncing off each other. Oh, one's around.
Oh, looks like Gibson.
Wrecking for last, boys. We're wrecking for last. Man, I saw that happening halfway down the front. Oh, the 88 just loses it. So not even contact. They were 3 wide behind him. He was in front of the 3 wide miss.
Did he already have that damage before entering the corner?
I'm not sure. I thought they were going to wreck behind him because Chad was 3 wide with Jeff Green and somebody else.
Yeah, he's already that rear is already heavily damaged before. I think that probably factored into the lack of grip.
That is unfortunate. But as long as these cautions keep happening, I think we're going to have a repeat of what Jeff Burton was able to do here in, I think, about 2000, James, when they ran the plates on the cars here, and Jeff Burton led every lap.
Yep. I can't say I disagree with you on that.
Typically at New Hampshire, it works out a lot like Martinsville, where you guys on different strategies deciding to pit here while other guys don't pit until later. But with the cautions, we're not really going to see that play out. And with the way the cautions have fell, I already feel confident saying these guys are probably going to pit one more time, and they're all going to probably pit at the same time at whatever caution comes at or around lap 80, if I had to guess. And at that point as well, we will have some guys maybe trying 2 tires.
It sounds like Chad has noticed what we noticed about Jared's paint.
Oh, did he say something? I missed what he said. What did he say?
He was like, Jared, I think you might have uploaded your custom paint to the regular paint.
Well, they're getting 1 to go, and there's nothing that's going to change with that right now. So, Cutlip's still out front. Blake is still going to be second. Tyler Fode's still going to be third. Wadsworth, Weeks, Wilkinson, Tooker, Hibbs, Higgins, Crump. Our biggest mover right now is just looking here. I'm looking at Hunter Smith. I'm looking at the 24 of Hosick. You know, Mark started 34th. He's up to 16th. Mark is having a great run tonight. Pace car pulls in. John now has control. John gets away. And John is going to get cleared if he wants to dive down into this corner. He does dive down into that corner. First, second, and third all get clear. Battle is on back there at Brandon and Weeks. Weeks got teammate Tooker right behind him. Heading down for turn 1. Ooh, Fode with a big look under the 86.
Blake shut the door on Fode.
Tell you what, Blake had a lot of confidence that Fode wasn't going to be able to power down right there.
Right.
He tries to work by the Wadsworth machine.
Finally tucks back in.
Oh, see Scott Crump coming through on the apron. He takes a big dive. I love it. I love a track where these guys have all these different lanes that they can choose to run in.
That's so satisfying, isn't it?
So much better for the racing too. Like you don't get stuck in these races where nobody can pass anybody, and it's nice to have options, and not just options, but options that work, changes that will work based on how you're wanting to drive the car. I understand, that it's a fixed setup, and all these guys are running the same setup. For those of you who don't know at home, the only thing that can change is the brake bias and what kind of steering ratio they run. So, very, very, very minor adjustments that will not really change how the car drives. But when you give these guys options, somebody who goes in and runs the bottom, they're doing all their braking very early, pretty hard to get all the way to the bottom. Whereas the guys that go in higher, they're braking, but they're not braking nearly as much. They've got a little bit more roll time. And it's options that will allow them to really change how they feed the car in and out of the corner, how they work the pedals. And there you see Josh Adams along with teammate and car owner Seth. These guys back here, Seth really trying to recover after being in that accident.
And you see Phillips right next to him too, also trying to recover from that.
And this is about 15th on the racetrack, so nice recovery already. I would be willing to bet they're probably on a little bit fresher tires since they were in the accident.
They are putting those tires to good use.
And here comes the 10 on the 10. Three Fords lined up on the bottom. Not anymore. 34 says, I like what you guys are doing on the bottom. Let me drop down there and go with you. All this going on about mid-pack. Nothing's changed out front. Cutlip still leading. 42 also making a recovery. Saw him involved in an incident. So a lot of guys have recovered nicely, and you might think 125 laps is a short amount of time, but some of these guys in 60 laps are running at the front, involved in a wreck, went all the way to the back, and now they're back up here trying to crack the top 10.
Absolutely. As we're 3 wide. Oh dear.
Three wide and a bunch of... Oh, somebody's got damage up there around Weeks. I think he's got to be talking about Crump. Something must have happened off of 2. Oh, yeah, I see the rear damage for Crump. Almost wonder if there was contact and if Scott agrees with Weeks that it was his fault. Those are the kind of things that we look forward to seeing how they play out. More so in here. If I was on the racetrack, I'd be like, hey, let's leave it alone. But up here, I'm like, hey. If I was able to talk to Weeks right now, I'd tell him the 90 tried to wreck you. And if I was in the 90 right now, if I had a chance to communicate with him, I'd say, man, that guy tried to wreck you. Let's get some drama going on up here. The 12 and 24. Deuces are wild in this battle. Along with the 42. Every car in this battle has a 2 on the side except for the 10, who's got 2 10s. And they're going to be 3 wide. This is the second time. Second time we've seen Rexing 3 wide.
There's Rexing taking that apron line.
He's working it hard. Now the 42 is going to run lower. 10 chooses to run up the track a little further. Now they have for turn 1, just all those different lines. There's 5 cars in the shot, and I think we saw 4 different lines. If I was any one of those guys, though, I don't know if they're on the same tires as that 10, but I'd be trying to do what the 10 is doing because he's past this whole group. Getting here.
Philip's gonna send it on Norgard.
I will say this. I do not believe these guys can make it to the end on fuel. So, if it were to run green from here, it would be a very interesting finish, reminiscent of what year was it? 2011, 2012, Newman and Stewart, or Stewart and Boyer on the fuel mileage train out here trying to make it. One didn't, one did. We'll see a lot of that if this were to stay green.
I think I remember that race. I think Newman was the one who ended up winning it. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
actually.
back at that point, there was a lot of fuel mileage races here, so I think I was kind of referencing 2 different ones, because I think Newman won one and Boyer won one, and I think in both instances, Tony Stewart was the other car who ran out of gas.
Yeah.
So we will see how this shakes out, and we will see if this group of drivers rewards us with a fuel mileage race here to the end of this thing. And honestly, as I sit here thinking about it, do you know who would love it if it went green?
Who?
Seth Rawls, Jared Rexing, who we believe are on fresher tires, along with the 24, and they've dug their way back to the field. Because if everybody runs out of gas and has to make a pit stop, we know those guys have the fuel on board to make it to the end.
That is a good point.
Now, I am sure, sitting here with 55 to go, I believe, right in this neck of the woods, they're not thinking about winning this race on that kind of strategy, because the odds are so against it that it's, just very against it. But if we run another 25 or 30, that'll start creeping into your mind. As Jared now, he's worked by Seth, he's trying to work by Josh. Bit of a disappointing season there for Josh Adams. Didn't make the playoffs. Really hasn't been a factor in any races this year in this series. So I know they expected more out of this season and just not quite getting it.
Oh, we're gonna be 3 again.
And,
No, it's going bad this time around. Goes Connor.
Yep. 3 wide off of 4. Did not work. And that fuel mileage that I was talking about, well, it's no more. No more fuel mileage race.
Yep.
So they come off of 4. They're 3 wide. The 10 barely gets there. The 10's been being super aggressive when we've seen it. And this time he puts himself up on the top of 3. The 9 kind of comes down a little bit. 22 came up a little bit, but I think the 9 came down. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if race control went no call there and just went with a racing deal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he just thought he was a lot closer to the 10 than he was, and you see that all the time in 3 wide moments like this, where one car is not given as much room as they could because they don't think they should. Yeah.
What I do know is everybody's on pit road. I expect to see some 2-tire stops. And with the caution, we're going to go ahead and we're going to squeeze in another break. And so after this break, we will bring you the rest of the race here at New Hampshire.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to New Hampshire, where we have some different strategies playing out. The 10 and 25 have stayed out here. The 34 is on 2, and everyone else is on 4. So it will be interesting.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. See how it works.
So for the first time all race, we have a different leader. We will see how this shakes out with the no tires, the 2 tires, and the 4 tires. Pace car pulls in. Green is out. Great start for the 10. Oh, they get 4 wide.
Oh my god. Oh, Reynolds is sideways. Oh, what a save by Blake.
But that's really going to hurt his chances. He is going to have to be on a hope and a prayer to get back there. I think what happened there was the 5 made a move and he made a move at the same time, and they got 4 wide. And wow.
Yeah, look at all that track position gone for the 86.
And we head down here for turn number 1 with the 5 going through to the lead.
Oh,
Oops,
and Blake just
again.
got a little hip check from Higgins. As now Blake's outside 3 wide. This is a rough last couple laps for Blake.
Oh, he's going to take a dive here on the inside.
Oh yeah, he's almost cutting the grass. Oh, Higgins is sideways. He's going around.
And caution is out, but Higgins is going to be okay as long as nobody comes through and blast him.
And he didn't even hit the pit speed cone either.
What a crazy, crazy restart that was.
No kidding.
I got to tell you, the 20 got tight there, and he took care of that 25. I know it might not look like that on the replay, but he's going to get tight, and instead of driving up the racetrack and kind of letting himself get tight, he pinches the car, probably touches the brake, spins himself out in order not to take out the 25 in that scenario.
Yeah. Good racing there by the 20.
So that's very heads up out of him to just wreck himself instead of wrecking somebody else. And unfortunate for the 20. That is his second tally is what I'm hearing. So if that is the case, he's done.
Man.
So that's unfortunate. But that makes it even more heads up that he didn't take somebody else out in the process of knowing that was going to be his second tally.
That's such a tough break for him, though, man. It's more, dare I say, playoff implications.
And he came into this race missing last week. So Gavin Higgins and Tate Lytle did nothing to close the gap to next week. So they both are going to be a must-win. Tate has came back out and he's running right now. So like, I would imagine he's going to be back in a must-win scenario. Gavin's going to be in must-win. So, or wait, Gavin, that was Gavin Higgins, right, in the 20?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was not bad last week. That was, or yes, he was. It was Gavin Higgins. Okay. Sorry, we got a couple different Gavins here, and I was confusing the two. So they both, are going to be in a rough spot next week, having to win. Chad, with his troubles tonight, he is also going to be most likely in a must-win. Now, if more of these guys have trouble, it'll bring points back into play, and I guess that's what you're hoping for. If you're Chad, if you're... Sorry, I had a little bit of a technical issue there with the dog trying to knock my keyboard off.
What the dog doing?
Well, she had climbed up under here and was under my keyboard, and the keyboard went to fall, and I was able to catch it.
Skills.
So, back green with Cutlip out front over Fody. The battle for third between Gavin Hibbs and Wilkinson there. Scott Crump having himself a strong race. '86 trying to get back around Crump, can't do it.
Got Hossack and Smith side by side right now.
86
Whoa!
with a big dive under Scott, cannot make it happen.
As we're 3 wide again. Smith and Hossack trying to go around Seth. Seth is going to back out of it and make it, let them be 2 wide here.
Yeah, and Seth's saying right now, just don't wreck me, guys. I'm trying to run over here to like lap 90, 95 probably, hoping to catch a caution right there, put tires on, and drive through this field. See the 11 and the 10. 10's holding on much better than Seth is. And that 10 is in the same scenario that 25 is. They head down here for turn 3 as a unit. David Tooker's struggling to get clear of that 10 machine.
Yeah, honestly hasn't been a banner night for Tooker. He really isn't running up where you expected he would. Like, just hanging out fringes of the top 10 where you think he'd be a lot closer to the top 5.
Tooker's kind of taken on that role of being a guy who, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but he doesn't win as much as he used to, but he doesn't have those bad days either. Like, not that Tooker used to have many bad days, but back when he was winning more, he was taking more risk. He was putting himself in, a little bit more chaos and whatnot. And that's all kind of calmed down now. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't win as much, but he doesn't have those bad days either. Like, Tooker is very quiet as far as how he runs on the racetrack, but he top 10s nearly every week. So he's right there where, on a day like tonight, it would be no surprise to see him get up there and have a shot at this, because if you keep running in the top 10, the top 7 or 8, like, eventually it's going to play out where you get a good restart, you're in one of those front 2 rows, you have a shot, something's going to happen that gives you, just as long as you don't take yourself out of it, you give yourself an opportunity to win races where maybe you're not the best car.
Absolutely. To finish first you must finish. Mr. Reynolds still cannot get by this 90. Now Wadsworth up on the scene.
And I got to tell you, our front 4 have driven off from Scott Crump, who has a line of cars behind him. I mean, a line, like, Scott is really holding these guys up, and they are being very patient. But how long will Blake be patient right there?
All aboard the Crump train. Choo choo.
Because that is frustrating. When you're a driver that's right behind him and somebody drives to your bumper, somebody drives to the bumper of the guy behind you, and eventually someone's driving to his bumper. It was the 90, the 86. Now the 6 is there. Now the 22 is there. Now the 11 is almost there. The 54, it's just one of those things where eventually somebody's going to get frustrated.
And you see there's some significant damage to the right rear corner of Crump's car too, which I think is really affecting that 90 and why they've lost contact with the top 4. Ooh, Blake almost got to the outside.
And you see Tooker looking under the 54.
Dave throw a big send here.
Not Blake giving a bump to the 90. It's starting to get physical.
Oh, it sure is. Meanwhile, Tooker was able to clear Smith that time.
And look,
here's
Blake's going to drive that in
send.
here. Yeah, big send right here.
Side job.
That big of a send, and he still drove away from the 90 on exit.
Yeah. And now Wadsworth trying to follow him through.
And Justin's not going to get clear. He is seeing now why that big send happened out of that 86. We'll see if Justin does it down here.
Yeah, he's able to throw a slider here. He was far alongside. There he goes. There's a 6 clearing. 90 really starting to fall.
Now, Scott's going to have to try to, in order to stop this bleeding, Scott's going to really have to back up the corner when they slide him. Just let the slide happen and try to get some momentum off of 2, because now he's lost all his momentum. So every time he comes off of 2, somebody's got to run on him and get beside him. And now Weeks is there. Weeks is far enough up where he won't even have to slide him. Weeks is going to be able to just make this a normal corner.
Yeah, the tires on the 90 are really gone now, because you see all of the momentum he gains from the outside. It's kind of irrelevant because he's having to wait so long to get back on the throttle with these worn tires that the car on the inside is able to keep far enough alongside to where the added benefit of being on the outside is completely gone.
And you see here that the 90 was able to stop the bleeding in part because the 11 didn't have to slide him. So the 11 didn't lose his momentum in the middle of the corner. And Tooker hates to see that because Tooker's like, man, I needed him to slide you like those first 2, and I could have made this pass, and now Tooker is stuck.
Oh, well, 30. It doesn't matter now.
You know what does matter now? Who does what for tires? We know the Seth and the 10 of, wow, his name escapes me, and he's been in the, Jared Rexing. So Seth and Jared, they're going to come in and get 4 tires. Oh, as you see, contact between the 30 and the 56 there.
I I don't know if there was contact. It was super close, but it was also kind of hard to tell. Oh, nope, he definitely made contact.
Here we go. We have the 90 staying out, who was backing up already. So let's see who does what for tires. I'm seeing it looks like 4 on most everybody. The 5 comes out with 4. The 22 of Josh Adams is on 2 right sides. And then the 40, the 95. So this is going to be interesting. What do you guys like? Where do you want to be right now, James? Do you want to be in the 90 on no tires? You want to be in the 5 car on 4 or the 22 on 2?
I want to be right here in the broadcast booth.
Well, that's no fun. If you had to be on the racetrack, where would you be?
I would have taken tires. It's an interesting call from Crump because he was already.
Big moment here. I did not realize Hunter Smith and Brent Jones are also out here, along with Gerald Campbell. No tires on the front 4.
Yeah, I mean, with how much Crump was starting to fall through the field, it was clear that a lot of the good was gone off of those good years. So I just don't know if this is going to work out well, especially since he still has that damage, which I'm sure is adding to his issues.
Here they come. Off of turn 4. Got Crump out front. Got him a buffer of 3. Green is out. Pretty even start up there. I felt like the 90 was pretty aggressive.
Speaking of aggressive, here comes Cutlip and Fody. Oh, we're 4 wide. Oh no! And there it is, hip spun.
Oh, Wadsworth is involved. The 10's back there. Bunch of cars are involved. We'll have to get a look at that and see what happened.
Yep, that went as expected. Oh, you see Rexon get hit by Connor.
So for our new producer Nick Masse here, that wreck was up by the 31. That's where we need to be looking for the caution.
Well, there was still some more incidents after because Harrison Talon got sent around into the fray. So,
Ooh, Weeks gets a piece of it, but just a piece. So they get 4 wide.
they were 5 wide.
5 wide almost. Oh, Fody runs up into the 95, runs into the 31, into the 22. That's what happened there. Fody ran up the track.
Just clips hit him.
When you go down there, that's on you. That's on you to hold your line there. And Tyler's a good race car driver and a smart race car driver, but you've got to recognize that you can't come up that far into those guys.
Well, I mean, by the time they make contact, Fody is already clear. So I don't know. Let's see, Weeks getting hit.
And now here's the 6 is going to get involved. Let's see, does the 25 get a piece of this? I think Seth did a good job. So that's unfortunate for those guys. And there you see where Josh gets clipped. That's where Justin gets his damage. Tooker involved a little bit. Harry comes in. Quite the accident here. And we talked about that early in the race, how this thing, chaos could happen at the end. And I mentioned how Tooker put himself in position and all it takes was a few things falling right. Well, it didn't fall great there for Tooker.
No, it didn't.
It actually fell the opposite way for David Tooker. Who it felt right for is the guy that's back there in the 25 who lost all his track position, was involved in a spin, had fresher tires in the field, drove through, then stayed out, and then he had to restart like 15th or 20th, folding on 4 tires, and now he's about to crack the top 10. And I mean, just what a turn of events there for the 25.
Yeah.
Hunter did a great job on that last restart. He's now going to be the leader for this one. Green is out. Big jump for the inside lane. And here comes John on the very bottom. John's going to get a big enough jump there to go up and try to take that lead from Hunter. Is going to do so. 4 tires chug-a-lugging through this field. 86 is going to get back up there. The end of this race is falling pretty good there for the 86 machine to get his track position back. Oh no! Turned down into 1. Fode's head on in the fence. Tyler Fode's head on in the fence.
Oh,
right. 24's around.
Osik around too.
Major playoff implications down there. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Now Fode had a big gap coming into tonight. Did Fode get into Crump? I think he does get into Crump. They go down into the turn and Fode just gets into Crump. Now we'll have to double check and make sure that Fode did not get hit right there into Crump. But the 40 then takes a head-on hit here. Mark just squeezes by the 43, the 2.
Yeah, he's got a meatball. Oh, wow.
Oh, no contact there into the back of the 40. He just got into his teammate there. I mean, we're sitting here, you know, the 40's going to be severely damaged. You know, he's, like you mentioned, he's got a meatball. But he's real lucky not to walk out of here with 2 tallies in the last 2 cautions. I understand they were 5 wide in that last one, but he was the guy that kind of came up the track and, you know, kind of got that last ball rolling. He's very lucky not to have 2 tallies. I guess not really. He's driving off. He's blowed up. That's 30 minutes, so 2 tallies or not, the 40 machine will not see the excuse me, the 40 machine will not see the checker flag tonight. So he had a gap coming in here in points, did Fode. But he has lost that cushion. And that is going to make the bubble, that's going to add 1 more car to that really, really tight bubble next week.
Yeah, it's going to make an already spicy race even spicier.
And in all of that, Crump was able to save his race car. And he's still sitting out here in P5. Now, I think if I was Scott Crump, I think you saw what was going on there and just how in the way you were, so to speak. I don't want to say that he was in the way because that will come off wrong if somebody doesn't understand what I'm saying. But like being on older tires, how much pace you were off of everybody. I might have seen the light there and came and got 4 tires and tried to drive my way back through this field because we have seen a lot of guys drive through the field tonight relatively easy back up to the top 15, and I am not sure if it stays green, he's going to stay in the top 15 on these old tires. Because as you lose the track position, like as the leader, he was able to stay in the front on the front row. From second, he didn't get a great restart, fell back. Part of this wreck has fallen back to fifth. Now he's going to restart fifth, and these guys back here, they are not going to be as nice about how they pass you.
Nope.
So you're giving up track position every time as the green is out. Now, one thing that's going to benefit Scott here for probably the next lap is the fact that the 25 and the 12, I guess they thought there was another lap of yellow or something.
Yeah, not good jumps.
They come off a turn 2.
Oh no, Rex things around.
Oh, is it big back there in the back again?
Not quite, but it almost was.
Let's see. The 10's gonna. Oh!
Oh.
They're asking Rex about a checkup. I'm not sure a checkup. Matt, like,
No.
I don't know.
He asked Brent.
I'm sorry, Brent, asking about somebody checking up, but I don't think it matters if he checked up or not. It looked like.
No, it was Gerald asking Brent if he checked up.
Oh, and Jay's going to get a piece of that. Brent Jones is out there, and he's going to get a piece of the 55. Well, they're 3 wide, looking at 4.
Yeah, and then Gerald. So yeah, that's why Gerald was asking if he checked up. And there was a checkup because you see Francis almost get the wall.
Yeah, Brent had to check up with the contact, and then Gerald, and then Jay, and then Rexing.
Hard hit for Campbell.
So now we're going to be set up here with, I think, what, about 13 to go when this green flag comes out?
I believe you're correct. So it looks like Crump is once again gonna restart in P5.
And he's hoping that the 25 is not ready to go again. The 5 takes the bottom. The 86 is on the top. The 11 and 54. 54 has now lost track position back there, same as the 90. I guess they're hoping to see a bunch of rash of cautions here and keep hitting restarts well. Green is out. Ooh, a little bit of a bottom, and I believe it started with the 90. The 90 did not time that out very good.
Yeah, I think he jump started a little bit and kind of bounced off of Weeks.
And now here we are. He's going to be in the middle 3.
Oh,
and they're Chad Frankenfield with Justin Wadsworth.
Chad's
Big
dead.
wreck. And Justin, a playoff car. Wadsworth he's gonna be going in the next week. He was on that cut area real tight, and now he's gonna be a little bit under it. Probably, maybe not quite a must win for Justin. It just depends on how the rest of this race shakes out. But being involved in 2 of the last 3 wrecks for Wadsworth is not ideal. Oh,
Yeah.
contact there. And more contact.
Yeah. A little bit of contact from the 22 gets Chad loose and Wadsworth nowhere to go.
Now, here's my question. Chad just kind of came down and stayed down right there. I don't... Like, Chad's running way up here, and then he's going to turn down. So I'm looking at Josh Adams on the lead lap, and at the time of this accident, Chad is 20 down. I don't understand. I'm not sure why Chad was racing up through this field so hard.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with you on that.
And I'm going to tell you right now, another guy who's pretty frustrated about it is probably driving that 6 car, being a playoff guy. I mean, I'm sure Josh is like, what are you doing? You know, like, I don't understand why you're turning down the track right here, coming onto the straightaway, but Josh is probably not way tore up about it because he was involved in that wreck earlier. But I'll tell you who is, and it's probably Justin Wadsworth, being a playoff guy, not understanding what Chad is doing 20 laps down. And I promise I'm not trying to pick on Chad, but like sometimes like I feel like just you need to recognize that you're 20 down. And that goes for everybody. I don't understand racing lead lap cars at 20 laps down. And I get it. Chad's a fast car. We've seen him go through the field, you know, when it got strung out and whatnot. But at this point in the race, I just don't understand it.
Yeah. And Josh is having the exact same conversation with him that we are now.
Well, we're not having the conversation with Chad. We're having it with each other, kind of coming to an agreement of not understanding. But Josh is asking. I didn't think Josh would say anything because I didn't think Josh would be that mad about it, and not nearly as mad as Justin would be. But and that is rule to racing deal. We're coming to the green. The 5 is still out front. Green flag is out. They head down here for turn 1. The 5 gets away. The 86 gets away. They head down here with our front 3 clear.
Three.
That's 2 playoff guys, and they bounce off each other. And that's what I was talking about. These guys are not going to be nearly as nice with Scott. Like, they've got to go. And Seth's a playoff guy, and he's going to say, I can't sit in here behind somebody on old tires and just take care of you. And now he's got Tooker right behind him. And it's well documented in this elite circles how good of friends Tooker and Crump are. But Tooker makes the pass. And I got to tell you, I think if there's another caution, that Crump needs to be on pit road.
I honestly would have pitted a couple cautions ago.
Because if you look at his mirror, the 24 was involved in a later caution, the 22 was involved in a later caution, and they're within 3 or 4 cars of him. So, the 24.
Oh, hot 6 sideways. Oh, Francis T-bones him. Oh my
Oh,
goodness, Joe
Joe's
Francis
upside
is
down.
upside down.
Oh my goodness. And it's back over. Will it drive? Does he have drive?
It's
He's driving off. You know, that car don't look too bad. The 24 goes down here, and man, that's a lot of rear brake in that car.
And then overcorrects back
And
into
then
the
Joe
wall.
hits him. Who hits
Yeah.
Joe to knock him over?
Brent,
Oh, it's
Brent Jones. Brent nowhere to go and just clobbers Joe. Joe got launched to Massachusetts.
Man, oh man. And then he rolls back over. I mean, hey.
The judges give it a 10. Holy crackers.
That was good stuff right there. And he's back on pit road, going to get some 4 new tires. You know, and that happened right around Mark. I think Mark was trying to get some good pictures of it going on, but he was too far out in front of that one. As we sit here, Cutlip is out front, Blake Reynolds, Weeks, Brandon Wilkinson, Hunter Smith are the top 5. Hunter Smith doing a great job on his old tires. Alate Norgard at 6. JP Phillips, Seth Rawls, Ryan Borges, and David Tooker, top 10. Crump has now fallen to 11th. Hibbs, Jeff Green, Mark Rebilas, and Josh Adams are the top 15.
Surprise Crump is sticking on this strategy.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I do know this, though. I hope that 99 somehow finds his way to the top 10 tonight. Because if that's the case, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a natural green-white checkered here.
Yeah, this is going to be... do you think we do it without getting into our bag of green-white checkers?
No.
What do you think, Nick, up there real quick? We haven't gotten your input too much tonight. We're going to have to get into our bag of green-white checkers?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a couple of them. We're probably going to use all of them.
Well, I think there's 4 on the table. I hope not. As the green comes out, great jump for Cutlip. He gets away. The 11's going to try to come through. 2 to go. The guy that
Here
I seen make a big
Seth.
move back there was Seth Rawls. Yeah, Seth making a big move. Crump struggling off a 2. It's going to lead to a struggle 3
big
and 4.
spin! Ooh!
Hey, we got the white. We didn't use any of them, boys.
That is unbelievable. Seth's
3
gonna
wide
send
for
it 3.
5th. And I think if you're Seth, you got to take that opportunity.
He's gonna just about clear. Oh, not
And
quite.
he's got fresher tires than Hunter. I don't think Hunter will be able to make it stick, and Hunter doesn't think Hunter can make it stick either. Hunter backs out to follow. They're going to come off a turn 4, and it's going to be Cutlip with the victory. Oh, Seth, you don't want to throw away a bunch of points
get
here.
together!
Oh, man, that's 3 points thrown away for Seth.
Oh, and I think Mark got killed in the back.
But it's Cutlip, Weeks, Reynolds, Wilkinson, Smith, Tooker, Norgard. Seth goes back to 8th. He was going to likely finish 5th. So that's 3 points away for Seth, JP Phillips, Ryan, Gavin Hibbs, Scott Crump. Mark comes up to 13th. Jeff Green, Josh Adams round out your top 15.
Whew.
What a night for Cutlip. What a dominating performance.
Absolutely.
He came into tonight knowing he was locked in for the most part. And he just took these boys to the woodshed before they go to Talladega to make sure that it's just he and Blake. And that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be Blake and John feeling good going in the next week. Everybody else is feeling like, I got a points race or I got a must win. Next week's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about it. But we're going to take one more commercial break. And when we come back, we will have John Cutlip and the rest of our top 3 to come up and talk to us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to New Hampshire, where we have just wrapped up the Magic Mile 125. And for a lot of guys tonight, it wasn't too much magic. It was real bad for a lot of guys. But for one of those guys, it wasn't terrible. He's going to go into next week feeling pretty good about the points. And that is Blake Reynolds. Blake, talk to us about your night. What more you needed there to beat that 5 car?
I needed a little less damage. I got some left rear damage, and it looks like it was on my spoiler. I thought it was just the bumper, but on my screen, I see the left side of the spoilers crinkled in. So I think it was on that restart where I think it was Seth Rawls and JP stayed out. It was the group of them. I tried to go up the middle, but it looked like JP lost the nose right when he got to the center. It just popped me in the side, and I had to drift up the track. And I think Fody got in my left rear. That's what got me the damage. So yeah, I fell back there. Other than that, I had an awesome race with me and John. We were just finding new race lines. This new version of New Hampshire is fantastic. I'm sure when it was green, it looked pretty damn good. Just, running, low entry, high exit, or high entry, low exit, or just, completely swapping ends. It's really fun on these refresh tracks because the grip's just kind of all over the place. Like on the apron here in New Hampshire, it's really fun.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. It wasn't quite as green as I think everybody, including us, would have liked it. There was, I think, one substantial green flag run there around lap 60 in that area where you guys stayed green for about 20 laps. So I'm really not going to ask you more about tonight. I'm going to ask you about the rest of the playoffs and the rest of this round, because going into next week at Dega, it's pretty much just you and John locked in. Everybody else is going to be fighting for points, and the guys who aren't fighting for points are in must-win situations. So how do you approach Dega next week? Are you going to try to help a teammate win? You going to try to win and force them all to race for points? How's that going to play out at Talladega?
I think I'll just help the people who need help. Is it Talladega? For some reason, I thought it was Atlanta.
It might be Atlanta. I know it's a super speedway.
It's Talladega.
Oh, it is Talladega? All right. Well, yep. I mean, one and the same nowadays. Yep, Talladega. We just went there in Cup. And it was kind of just a Talladega race. So these cars, you can't get that big old suck. There's not a lot of side draft, right, in these cars? I don't think there is any. So it really is just kind of moving with your lane.
Now, I got to correct something here. On one schedule, it does say Atlanta. And this is the schedule that was right when it came down about a month ago when everybody was like, "Hey, I saw this race on the schedule," and then Chad said, "No, it was this race. It was always been this race." So there was like a mix-up of schedules that were showing two different things.
Thanks, Chad.
On the one that was correct a few weeks ago, it does say Atlanta. So it is a super speedway, but it is Atlanta. So
Well,
I guess
Atlanta.
prepare for
I
Atlanta
mean,
and Talladega.
I've
and
never
just see
raced
what happens.
Atlanta. I've never raced Atlanta in this car. It should be interesting. You know, in every other car, or at least next gen, that's the only thing I raced there, is there's side draft, right? So you can, you know, someone gets a run in the center of the corner because it's the low lane, you can just pull them back with the side draft all the way off of 2 or like down the back straightaway or something like that. These cars, you know, you really gotta, you know, keep it tight. Not really bump draft, but you know, keep the air pockets close. That's how you make your runs. So that should be interesting. Whatever super speedway we're gonna race next week. Other than that, I mean, I had a fun race tonight. I wish races like this could go green. I know for some reason our super speedway races go green more than tracks like this, and that's a shame. So,
That's the kiss of death for next week, Blake. Thanks.
you know, I tend to be wrong. So, it's gonna be full of cautions. It's gonna be full of cautions. Absolutely full of cautions. We're not gonna go green a single lap. How about that?
You know,
Real quick, I dug up the calendar that they use, and it does say Atlanta on November 3rd.
I want to
Awesome.
see some green flag stops at Atlanta where you guys have to go through 3 and 4. What do you think, Blake?
I agree. I really want to do that pit entry. I know they don't have the first phase thing, but it is going to be fun, especially in these cars because they get sideways and stuff. I want to drift at like 130 miles an hour, that entry
I
on the
think,
flat.
Blake, when they did the redo stuff there in that last build, they added that into Atlanta. I think it is pit speed now all the way through the bottom of 3 and 4. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the things they updated on that speedway.
Is it? Okay, well, I guess I'll have to load it up. We'll have to see. You know, other than that, I mean, fun race tonight. Running the alternative paint scheme thanks to JD Designs, Trick Machine Works, Track Racer Simulation, Channel 199 Sim Racing, Racecraft Academy. Everyone at on my team that's helping me, and I'm in Discord. The Pro Edge guys they're fun to hang out with. Rowdy bunch. Sucks that Paul Mikolajczyk wasn't here. Love that guy. And yeah, you guys for putting this on. Chad and everyone on the team for putting on the excellent GNS series.
Well, all right, Blake, that kind of took care of my last question. We kept you long enough tonight. We'll let you get ready to go out to Atlanta, where you're going to have an easy day, along with our race winner tonight. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So don't be offended if we don't talk about you too much next week, because that point battle from about third all the way is going to be very intense and very fun to watch. So good luck next week. Force us to talk about you and go win that thing.
Yeah, I will not be offended. So yeah, thank you.
Well, that was Blake, and I think, James, are you running down there to catch up with Matthew Week somewhere?
Yes, sir. We are with my broadcast partner on Sundays, Matthew Weeks. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, that was a pretty up and down race there. You got involved / were near / dodged quite a few things tonight.
Yeah, feel like I got hit in the door twice from 2 different wrecks. Surprised I didn't get damage from that, but other than that, I mean, we did good. Glad we kept the car clean, but still walked away with some X's and missed out on that extra bonus point there, but it's all good.
I think I heard Chad say they don't do that for the playoffs.
Yeah, probably not. I just show up to race. I try not to keep up with the points.
Yeah, you did a great job to get yourself up there in P2 on the last restart. How were you able to slip by Blake there?
I just had a better restart. I knew coming to a green white checkered, usually what people like to do, like the leader, is go early to try to get the jump and build a gap there. So I just figured John was going to go a little bit early, and he did, and that really helped me. And then Blake had some rear damage too, and I think that kind of helped me as well. And I know one thing, people like to go down to the apron, and I like to use that second lane right above the flat, so when they try to slide up, they really can't slide up, so it kind of keeps them pinned down too. So that kind of helped me keep it there.
Yeah, and take us through what was going through your mind entering tonight. Were you expecting a race like what we saw tonight being a bit uh interesting, to say the least?
God, every time we race New Hampshire, yeah. Every time we come to these tracks where you got to get on the brake a lot and kind of drive the car with the throttle a little bit, after you get off the brakes because it was a little loose middle out with the rear. So yeah, I knew we were going to have a lot of cautions. Just like I even told the race chat, it's like I don't know why we choose these tracks that we have just endless cautions and we just can never have a long run. And we race Martinsville next season, and that's going to be a 20 caution race, and it sucks because it's not like I hate these tracks. Like Martinsville is my favorite short track. New Hampshire, I really like racing New Hampshire because of what you can do at the track, and we just get these cautions and it ruins it. And I'm a long run guy, and I'm only good at New Hampshire if we get that long run. I'm not good, the first 15 laps of the run, and so I needed that long run to probably just try to compete with John because I had nothing for him and really Blake, the first 20, 30 laps of a run.
Yeah, well, it was still a fantastic run for you tonight, being able to avoid all the chaos. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, it was a good night, stage points and P2, what we needed to do because I'm not good at road courses, so we gained before we go to Atlanta. Shout out to my boy, Justin Vandermeerl at JV Designs, paints all my schemes. They're sharp, they look nice. I don't think I've changed my paint schemes in 2-3 years now because they're just so sharp and they look so good on the track. You guys in the booth, can't wait to go back and watch the race. James, I work with you on Sunday, so I know you do a great job. Chris, he calls people out how it is and how race it is. He knows racing, so I want to go back and watch that. And thank Nick for stepping in for Dave tonight as well. Being pushing the buttons back there, doing everything. Shout out to Chad for running the league and everyone that was part of it, all the sponsors and everyone that watched. Sorry it wasn't that great of a race. We had some good runs here and there, some good racing, but oh no, it's going to turn around once we get to these bigger tracks and we get deeper in these playoffs. It's about to start getting really good with how skilled the drivers are. So I can't wait to get further in the playoffs.
All righty, Matt. We appreciate you. Hopefully, we're talking to you again next week.
All right, man. Thank you.
Well, that was Matthew Weeks. Now we're going to bring in John Cutlip, not the only guy. Blake's having a really good run in the playoffs, but John, you've had a great start to this playoffs. You're going to go into Atlanta next week knowing that there's nothing for you to worry about. Put on a dominating performance tonight. So my first question we'll ask about tonight, and how did you manage to keep your car out front all race long? We saw some different strategies at times, but it felt like one lap after you were buried in 5th or 7th or wherever you got buried to with guys doing different strategies, you were back in the lead. So talk to us about your race tonight.
Yeah, our race was pretty uneventful for the amount of stuff that was going on. And as far as the different strategies, a lot of luck just comes into it. We got buried at worst back to 5th, and that put us on the bottom, which kept us out of the danger a couple of the restarts because sometimes just wrecks develop either to the low side or high side, and luckily we on the better end of it.
Well, you mentioned being on the better end of it. So now I'm going to ask you about looking ahead to Atlanta, the last race of the round. You're obviously locked in along with Blake. Going to a super speedway, you guys got nothing to worry about. But from 3rd all the way to the last guy in 14th, it's going to be a fight. And those last couple guys there, last 3 guys, Higgins, Tate, and I think Paul, they all are going into next week knowing they must win. Everybody else is within 30 points. And if you look from 2nd through 8th are separated by less than 20. 2nd through 10th separated by 19 points. So all those guys are going to be racing for points trying to get in. How are you going to approach next week? Are you going to try to win and force them all to points race? You going to try to help some teammates out? Like how do you decide what you're going to do, especially in the closing laps, if you have a shot at the win next week?
It's pretty much going to just be business as usual. Everyone's obviously really good, like even below the cut line. Like Tate's really good at plate tracks, even though he says he isn't. He's been getting a lot better recently. And who's the other one below the cut?
How many guys go out of this round? I don't even know. Is it 10? 8? How many?
I'm not sure, but there's a few really good plate track drivers on and below the cut line. So I'm expecting to see a lot of them at the front. Obviously, want to try to get the win just to get some more points in the bank if we need it. But yeah, priority is going to be that, and just trying to get our other three teammates with Wadsworth, Hibbs, and Nikolajic into the playoffs and continue that. I know Paul is really good at Atlanta. He was proving that last season in the Cup Series in the playoffs, I think. But yeah, he's always really solid there. But yeah, just hopefully it's a clean race and we can just race it out.
Yeah, and like you said, hopefully it's a clean race. It is Atlanta, so 3 and 4, like the pitting. If there's a caution that comes out during pit stops, that's going to really hurt some guys. But what kind of race do you think we're going to see at Atlanta? Sometimes we have plate races and they're pretty chaotic, and sometimes we have them and they stay green. Do you think a lot of guys are going to be more cautious knowing the points battle, or is that going to make guys be more aggressive?
I feel like it's going to be pretty clean for the most part. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where the early race is going to dictate how the race plays out. As far as if we get a long green flag early or middle in the race, I feel like it's going to pretty much finish green. But I feel like as soon as you get that first caution after halfway, it's going to be like pulling the pin on the grenade.
Okay, so I have found out it looks like we're going to take 10. So that cut line right now is Seth Rawls, who is 64 back, and he has about a 13-point gap over Chad Frankenfield, and then it's another 18 to Paul. So that gap is pretty big, but if one of those guys wins, being Chad, Paul, Gavin, Tate, that's going to change everything, because right in front of Seth, 4 more points puts Seth at 7th. 10 more
Right.
moving 5th. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a heck of a thing to try to keep up with if you're out there on the racetrack. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for those two, and especially since Blake and I are locked in, it's always easy because you essentially have nothing to lose, right? Like they're so far down in the points to where all they have to worry about is winning. And, you know, it takes the pressure off just because you don't have to, you know, worry about the points or essentially anything else other than just winning the race. But they're solid drivers. They're pretty smart. Yeah, I feel like they'll probably be up front towards the end of the race if they can manage the race well.
So how do you go ahead from here? You know, knowing you're locked in. So Atlanta really, you know, it doesn't matter. Now, of course, you want to run well every time. You know, you're a race car driver. Every time you get on the racetrack, you want to run well. But do you look ahead to Vegas, Dover, and Wilkesboro in that next round? And do you just go to Vegas, or do you have a track in there that you think you're going to struggle out more than the other two, and you say, I'm going to really put in some extra work? Because that next round is what is very important as far as getting a chance to race for a championship in Kansas.
I never look far ahead, to be honest. Like, I don't run any extra practice. The only time I'll run extra practice for something is if it's a road course. And like, as you know, and anyone else who knows me, I'm not the biggest fan of road courses, and I get pretty uncomfortable as far as just racing around them. And unfortunately, last week it kind of showed a little bit because I made some contact with my teammate Gavin Hibbs, and that hurt his playoff chances a little bit. But I think I'm kind of more focused on next Wednesday, obviously being a road course. But as far as the next round, I'll just pretty much show up when I show up and just hope for the best.
Well, all right, John, you sound like you might be a little bit sick there, a little bit under the weather. So before you get out of here and get to feeling better and get ready for Atlanta next week and start preparing for that road course on Wednesday, who helps get it done for you and get you to the track week in, week out?
Yeah, I'm super parched. I didn't have any water the last few laps. I ran out, but yeah, gonna go down some water after this. And yeah, shout out to you guys over here in Elite. Nick, Chris, and James. You guys do a phenomenal job week in and week out. Shout out to Race CPI. Shout out to my teammates, Parker White, Jarrett Liebert, and a few others. They helped me a lot here in the truck a few weeks ago. We ran a practice for the open stuff, and I used to struggle here a lot. And yeah, I just picked up a few things, and it's starting to click a little bit. I'm still off here and there, but definitely making progress. Shout out to Blake Reynolds as well. He helped me here after the Cup race last season, and it's all starting to like come together a little bit. And yeah, shout out to my mom. She watches every week. I'm so glad that she was able to see me win tonight. So yeah, shout out to her. And I'm gonna go split the lobster with my teammates Wadsworth and Hibbs. We had a rough couple of weeks, but hopefully it's on the mend.
Well, all right, John. Congrats on the win. We can't wait to see you next week and see what you have in store for us later on down the playoffs.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good night.
Well, James and Nick, we had a race at New Hampshire. It was a little bit more chaotic than maybe we thought, as far as lots of yellows, lots of different things happened, but some playoff guys, they hurt their chances tonight. They put themselves down on that cut line, and some other guys who were well above the cut line put themselves in a position to miss next week if circumstances fall right. So what do you guys think about the race we saw tonight, and what do you think the race is we're going to see next week in Atlanta?
Yeah, I mentioned a little bit about races being a mixed bag here, and we ended up kind of getting that all in one. You know, the first half was a lot of green flag running, nothing real all over the place, crazy, and then once we got past halfway, then things went off the deep end. So definitely an interesting race to say the least on that one.
And what about you, Nick? What did you think about the race we seen tonight?
It makes me wish I was kind of out there. Besides all the cautions, it looked like a lot of fun. All the lanes were working. A lot of good battles. Looked like a blast out there for pretty much the whole track out there. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting end of round one next week. Atlanta. Points being as close. Have to be everybody's gonna have to be going for it. I don't think anybody can afford to sit back and ride and save, even though you might want to avoid the wrecks.
And I'm going to piggyback off what you just said, Nick, with stage points and things that are out there. I think next week, if you are anybody third on back in the points, stage points are going to be very important, because if you're Tyler Fody and you decide to throw out stage points and you give up 10 points to somebody on that cut line, all of a sudden you're right there, you know? So, like, stage points are going to be very vital for everybody third through about 12th, and the couple that are under that are going to have to just win the race. So, you know, maybe a Tate Lytle, maybe Paul, they can say, I don't need to be up there for the stage, just in case something happens with all the playoff guys going for stage points. But they know going in that they've got to win. They're not going to point their way in under any scenario. So it's going to be a heck of a title fight, or not a title fight, but a heck of a points fight to get into that next round. That bubble is very tight as far as all the guys above it. Nobody is safe outside of our top two. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to see what happens. I mentioned I want some green flag stops with that new extended pit road in Atlanta. I'd like to see how that plays out on the sim, see what happens, see what shakes out. It's going to be a heck of a race next week. I can't wait to get there, guys. So any final thoughts from you tonight, James or Nick, before we wrap this thing up and send everything off to Atlanta?
Look out for a whole lot more chaos with all the playoff implications going on.
Any final thoughts from you, Nick?
Yeah, next week's gonna be must-see TV. Gonna have to tune in to see this cutoff round. All these guys gonna be going for it.
That's right, and we can't wait to get there. We hope you'll join us too. I want to give a shout out to everybody who helps make this happen. Of course, James for being with me here on Mondays, Nick for stepping up tonight with Dave missing, and shout out to Dave for all he does to keep everything running smooth even when he's not here. Chad for the league, all these drivers for giving us the time to to talk to us after these races. Mark for the sponsorship. Of course, we've we've talked about our sponsor tonight there, Worldwide Technology Raceway, all that they do for us, and every sponsor that's helped us along the way. Blue Egg, I believe, is still a sponsor as well. So all these sponsors helping us out. Couldn't do it without you, and we can't wait to get to Atlanta next week, and we will see you there next week, same time. Join us, and we will eliminate some guys out of the playoffs.